Hello, everyone. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Rebecca.
Jeff, I'd love you to meet Carissa. Carissa, this is Jeff. Jeff Snyder is actually zooming in from Massachusetts.
Actually, I'm in Hudson Island, Florida. I'm here for a neurodiversity retreat and conference. So
That's
very cool. Nice to meet you, Jeff.
very nice to meet you.
Jeff is a self-advocate and he has a huge network all across the US. He speaks in other states and San Diego is his second home.
Very cool.
We claim you, Jeff.
That and Boca Raton. So
Yes. He's got 3 headquarters.
I like it.
I love it.
I wish I was that lucky.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, hold on one sec. I don't know why my computer has been doing this sometimes. Hold on one sec. Got a little Zoom rules for those of you who might be new to our lunch and learns. Though, because we are a small group, I highly encourage you to unmute yourself, engage with the speaker while they're speaking. Carissa is so amazing. She says you're totally welcome to interrupt her if you have any questions. I'm also going to be keeping an eye out on the chat. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat. We do recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we'd love to see all your smiling faces. And we'd love to take a group picture at the end as well. So we'd love to see your face if you'd like. And please type all questions and comments into the chat as well. Or like I mentioned, you can, speak out if you have any questions, and we will manage that. A quick update from Autism Tree. We now have 371 brand new families who have reached out to us since January 1st of this year, which is definitely record numbers for us. In all of last year, from January to December, we intake 556 new families. And so we are already at 60% of that in June. So we are definitely going to pass 600 families. So welcome to our new families. We're so happy you're a part of Autism Tree. We offer 19 programs, 13 are in person in San Diego County. We have 3 hybrid and 3 virtual for those who are outside of San Diego County or in different states. You're always welcome to register for any of our programs. They're free to attend. We have 10 upcoming events left for the rest of this month. And also always follow us on social media to check back for our announcements. We post all of our events on Facebook calendar, as well as it's available on our website to register. This week, we have our coding workshop, which we're excited, which will be on Zoom this Saturday at 10 a.m., which is about an hour of coding for our families with kids ages 12 and up. Our musical play group is more early intervention focused for those younger kiddos. We have sort of ages 0 to 5, and that's happening this Saturday as well at 1 o'clock at the Music Therapy Center of California, which is run by their board certified music therapists. And then we have our adaptive dance class every week. Ages 5 through 10 is this week on Saturday at noon at Tap Fever Studios, Pacific Beach. And our Fit and Fun workshop, which is happening on Sunday. We're so excited. Glenn Lasker is our program director, and he provides a lot of different fitness type but fun kid activities to do at Civita Park, I believe, which is in Mission Valley. So that will be Sunday morning on the 18th. If you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to me directly about any of our programs and we can sign you up. We have 525 videos on Autism Tree's YouTube channel as of today. We highly recommend you subscribe. We post these lunch and learns every single week, and we already have 120 of these lunch and learns uploaded to our YouTube channel. We started these during the pandemic, and we're so grateful for every single guest speaker. We love every single one. So without further ado, we're so excited for you to meet Carissa. Carissa, I met you last week, right? Or was it this week?
I think it was last week. Yeah.
Last week already. But I already feel like you're a part of our family and you have the passion and the drive that and the love that I feel you have the heart for our families already. And I'm so excited for you to meet all of our families. So I'm going to pass it to you. Thank you for being here and talking about this exciting new program.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet everybody, even though I can't see everyone. That's okay. Like Rebecca said, please feel free to unmute, ask questions, interrupt me anytime. I'd love this just to be a back and forth so you don't hear me just talking at you the entire time. But I engage with Autism Tree through another connection. And the background of why I am here now is I'm starting a new program specifically for people on the spectrum. And I work here at MiraCosta College. So I'm going to give you the background of me in general and how I got to this point. I actually worked in nonprofit for about 13 years before coming over to education. And I ran programs specifically for adults with disabilities. And so I did things like day programs, supported living, supportive employment, all of those spectrums. I ran programs over there and switched gears and I came over to the education side. And now I'm on the workforce side of education. So I've always had a drive, not just for education, but also to serve underserved populations per se. And my heart and soul has always been with adults with disabilities because that's where everything started for me. And the autism part of it is my wife actually does ABA therapy and she consistently does ABA therapy on the side as we're growing our 5-year-old daughter. And so we actually have a family she works with. His name is Hero, and he's basically a big brother to Brindley. And so this is just kind of a family feat. And I've been working on trying to start this program, you guys, for like 2 years. So I know this specific population has so much growth. And I've been talking to my executive director, knocking on her door saying, hey, this is something we should look into. We should do this. We should do this. Kept knocking, slowly kind of, work those barriers down. And right when I was in the right time, I partnered with a nonprofit called Uniquely Abled. And I believe he's from Orange County, but the person that started that nonprofit, Uniquely Abled, he actually has 2 sons on the spectrum. And he was just getting frustrated with the whole situation of, even though my son can't interview well, he could do so much more, right? He could have a career, he could have a pathway. And so he started thinking outside of the box, trying to figure out, okay, what kind of career paths would my son be good at and be able to grow and take off that the social emotional type of thing where somebody that likes to focus. They're very driven, they're very detail oriented, they follow, SOPs, directions very specifically. What kind of jobs can that be? And so he came up with Machinist. And a Machinist is a very SOP per se driven, standard operating procedure. So very detailed step by step, right? And it's very highly detailed as in meeting specs, meeting tolerances. And so he said, I think maybe I should start trying to look at partnering with community colleges and create this program. So that's what he started to do. So the Uniquely Abled then now starts to partner with community colleges such as ourselves. But besides us, there's about 8 other what they call Uniquely Abled academies, very specific to serving people on the spectrum and getting jobs in the machinist in advanced manufacturing job placements. So it worked out really well. The first few academies, as I'm still knocking at my executive director's door, finally they got in touch with me, and we were able to open the door of, starting the one here at MiraCosta. So I tried starting this program in summer, and I only had a couple people show up, and they didn't return. So I'm now trying again in fall. The cool thing about our program here at MiraCosta is I've been running manufacturing courses since 2016 here. So this is not reinventing the wheel for us. We've already had the curriculum. We already have the machinery. We are doing exactly what UAA academies were doing prior to partnering with them. We're just now adjusting the curriculum and bolstering it in certain areas to help develop this specific population, right? So in general, prior to partnering, we did things differently on our side of MiraCosta. And when I say our side of MiraCosta, we're very much the workforce side. So my specific department is called Community Education and Workforce Development, right? I am running the workforce development side. So my job is to look at San Diego County and say, okay, where are the skill gaps? And then I engage those industry partners specifically to come to us, come meet together and say, okay, I know you're going to need machinists, right? All the baby boomers are retiring. There's nobody filling that back, right? So how are we going to, bridge this gap? So we bring them to the table. They tell us the skills they need, and we develop curriculum around those skills, right? So it's a little bit different than the credit side of the house, where the credit side is run under a different education code, and it takes them about 2 years to adapt, change, or create curriculum. Right. So they have a hard time meeting industry needs because instantaneously they're about 5 years behind what's really happening in the real world. Where under a different education code, and we don't have as much red tape. Right. So our job is to listen to industry partners with big ears and say, what do you need and how can we help you? And so we did that with machining. Machining was actually our very first curriculum build and program that we ever had. And so we did that. And the funny part, even before this was in 2015 when we did this, right? The feedback we got from industry were 3 things. 1, students weren't showing up or graduates weren't showing up. 2, when they showed up, they were late. And 3, they were on their phones too much. Well, it had nothing to do with machining itself, right? It had everything to do with professional skills. And this population, I know you're going to show up on time. If you're motivated, if you want to do it, right? 2, you're not going to be late, right? So, and you're going to be consistent, right? So most of these things that were barriers for non-spectrum population aren't going to be the same barriers, right? So back then in 2015, when we got that feedback, we all looked at each other and said, okay, well, is that my job as education to teach somebody how to be a good employee? Or is that the person itself, or is that industry? So then we started re-looking at the program altogether. And we said, okay, well, what if we started doing everything project-based? What if we have them clock in? What if we have them communicate and collaborate? Right. So now we started kind of changing the roles into saying, okay, we're going to treat you like an employee when you're with us. So that way, in this training process, in this educational cohort, you will learn how to be a good employee in addition to being a good machinist. And so that's what we did, right? So we gave everybody a badge. They started clocking in and out. We started implementing project-based, right? Timelines, collaboration, and communication, right? And so that then developed into this curriculum of, it's almost kind of like a wraparound, right? So we're not going to just teach you how to be a machinist, but we're going to teach you how to be a good employee too, right? And that started way before this partnership with UAA. Right. So we've been doing this since 2016 after a couple of cohorts and getting everything together. And we do that kind of that wraparound service of making sure that people understand what a good employee is so they can move up. Right. So we did that. And then now the other thing we do differently is we accelerate our programs. So, most machinist courses or AA degrees, they take about 2 years. What we've done is take that 2-year degree and we've crunched it down. So every program we have here is anywhere from 15 to 21 weeks, right? And that means the students are here on campus 20 to 40 hours a week, depending on the program. So what we found with that is when that person doesn't have that break necessarily, where I don't have to remember, tolerances from 2 semesters ago to what I'm doing now on setup, but it's all together and I'm building a foundation and building out, I get to give them more information in a short amount of time. And the other thing we do is heavy hands-on. So we need to know our job is not to theory-based teach people how to be a machinist, but I need to know that you're going to be good on the floor, that you're going to be able to actually machine parts. And so that's what we do here. We get the students on the floor. they throw chips, they're working the machines. That's what they do, right? So those are the little bit of differences between us, right, as the not for credit side, workforce driven side of MiraCosta versus the credit side of MiraCosta, where it's, you know, per unit, per credit, and you're slowly building to that AA. For us, we're just accelerating it. We're giving you a lot of information and we're wrapping around all the services. So that way in 15 to 21 weeks, you're entering a job. The other thing we embed in all of our programs are, you know, so my job is to look at, you know, Joe Schmo, and I say, okay, well, Joe and Susie are both going for the same job. How do I make Susie stand out compared to Joe Schmo, right? So now I'm looking at what is going to make your resume stand out compared to other people, right? So then we start looking at what's happening in advanced manufacturing. What kind of certificates can we add on, right? So then we look at OSHA, right? So now we're going to add an OSHA 10. So everybody gets an OSHA 10 certification that they can put on their resume. And that's basically how can I make sure I'm safe? How am I safe on the floor when I'm machining? The other thing we do is we add in lean, which means how do I cut cost, right? So if I'm out there on the floor and I notice, oh, the assembly process is A, B, C, and D, but I keep going from A to C, why don't I just move C over to A, save the extra, 5 steps or whatever it is, which would increase my productivity by 60 parts in a day or whatever it is. Now I've just created a lean plan. I share that with my boss, and then all of a sudden I look great because I'm increasing the manufacturing, the production, and now I look like I'm making more money for the company, which is a great thing. So how do I cut costs? How do I cut time? That's the lean portion of it. So we give them some lean training as well. And then we wrap around, the big one is career readiness, right? So we're going to bolster that a lot, specifically with this population, because we know that's a big barrier, right? And we do it for all of our cohorts, but this one might have just a little bit more in addition. How do I interview? How do I write a resume? How do I network? How do I do a cover letter, right? How do I adjust my resume to match the job description? So all of those things are embedded into the program as well. So they're going to get the OSHA, the lean, and the job readiness, and the career side, right? So they're getting the soft skills, the hard skills, and hopefully that wraparound service. The number one thing that we're really good at is our networking. So most of us may know this, but if I'm going for a job and I'm just going online and I'm just setting out my resume, I have about a 5% chance to get that job. Right? But if I go to Rebecca and I say, hey, Rebecca, I need a job. Here's my resume. And Rebecca's great. And she's doing a great job at her job. And she refers me and she vouches for me. I have an over 90% chance to get that job. That's what we play. We play that role for our students, right? So now if our students are showing that they can machine and they do have the employability skills, right, then we're going to vouch for them, right? So I could easily say to our industry partner, Susie is amazing. She's going to be your top level student or your top level employee. She's going to move up really quickly. She has high aptitude. And then all of a sudden that industry feels a lot better and it de-risks their hire and they get hired into that position. Not only could they get hired in that position, but now you're looking at that job description that has, starting rate 18 to 24, depending on experience, the DOE, right? Well, if they've already got your resume and you're sitting down for an interview, you've already met all those expectations. Now it's just selling yourself in a good reference. You can be at that $24 range, right? Because you've already got a good reference from us. Now the interview will hopefully you're selling yourself. You bring in your parts that you made through the program, gets you to the 22 versus the 18, right? So we're really working on trying to connect that and getting our students that value part, right? So that's kind of a little bit about where we started and where we are now, right? So we've been doing machining and advanced manufacturing for, since 2015. Now we're just spinning this off, very specific to a population, adjusting it in certain areas and bolstering it in other areas to make sure we're filling the need, right? And so we're very excited to start this program, especially me. I did try to do it in the summer. I only had a couple people show up. And so I couldn't run it in the summer. So I really need some champions out there to talk to other advocates and other clients to say, this might be a good fit for you. Of course, I want it to be a good fit. Absolutely. But those are things we're looking for is outreach to connect with people that know people that might be a good fit for a program like this and can say, hey, why don't you check it out kind of deal. So the actual program, I'm going to throw up a flyer for you guys to see. We've got a couple flyers, and I'm sure Rebecca can send these out because I sent them to her. One flyer is a very general flyer, gives you kind of a summary of the program. I'm going to actually show the flyer with all the dates for fall, because maybe you guys are considering the fall ones. Let's see. Are we good there, Rebecca?
Yep.
Yep. So it's a CNC operator program. If you don't know what a machinist or an operator does, is if you think about, so machinists basically take a raw piece of material and they make something out of it. They manufacture it, they prototype it, they create it, right? It could be something as simple that goes on a skateboard, right? It could be something that goes on a rocket ship. It could be something that goes inside your body, right? It really just depends. There's machining and manufacturing in every industry. You look around, you most likely have something around you, or most of the things around you have some sort of machine part on it, right? So manufacturing is a backbone, and it is highly, highly needed here in San Diego, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about this specifically. What we're saying there, and what the UAA is saying there is, can that person go to work 40 hours a week? Can they hold down a job? Are they independent enough to do those types of things, right? I'm hoping to launch our pilot of 8 students this fall. The program will be 9/5 to 12/14. Students will be with us from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a 30-minute lunch break, and we have a full lunch area here. Now, the process to be in that program is the first step would be this information session. And I believe I did send you the link, Rebecca, right, to the information session?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So feel free to send that out. I would like people to come to the in-person one, but if you would prefer, if they would prefer to come to the Zoom first, learn more about the program, and then come in. The reason why I'd love to see people in person is I want you to see the shop. I want you to, see the machines, hear the machines, smell the machines, get used to the feel of them. Know that it's something that you would feel comfortable with, right? That's the biggest thing is this a comfortable environment for you? And that's why I want people to actually come in. So what people could do if you don't want to drive, you just want to hear about the program first, feel free to jump on the Zoom, listen to what we have to say. If you feel like, yeah, that might be a cool thing, it might be a good fit for me, jump in on Monday. You can just come right at 6 p.m. We'll front load it with a tour, get you in the shop, get you to see what you're doing. And I also think we have a Saturday event coming up with you guys where we're going to do this. We'll do the information session as well as a tour on a Saturday if you guys want to join that through Autism Tree. So you don't necessarily have to do this. If you do the Saturday with Autism Tree, then that will check both of these boxes as well, right? Because we're going to do the info session as well as a tour of the shop. So you wouldn't have to come to either one of these if you come to the Saturday Autism Tree one, right? So, but ideally coming in to see the shop, hearing everything, smelling everything, that's what I'd love to see. But you're more than welcome to jump into either one of these. Once you do the Zoom or the information session, the next step is an assessment. Now, the assessment, I have a study guide. I believe I sent that to Rebecca. She'll get that out to you guys. I'm certain of it. Feel free to use that. Don't be nervous about the assessment. It's just an assessment, right? So it's about a 10th grade level, math and reading. It's multiple choice. It's not timed, right? So you can just easily go through that process. And that assessment is driven by industry. So industry really like the idea of us vetting our students. And this is how we do this process, that information session. And the information session is more about, are you ready for the commitment, right? Because 8 to 2 o'clock, Monday through Friday, that's a lot of hours of school, right? And training. So we want to make sure you're prepared for that. that you have a schedule that fits, that you can get to and from, that you're planning a little bit for that. And then from there, the assessment. And then after the assessment, the interview process. And that interview process is kind of similar where do you have a support system? You've got food on your table. If you have a roof over your head. And it's more about making sure that student is ready, prepared, and successful through the program. What we don't want to do is somebody to start and because of unforeseen situations or something we already knew about that we didn't solve prior to starting becomes an issue, right? So we could always look at somebody and say, hey, why don't we leverage some resources and, fix your transportation issue, or let's make a plan around that. And then you come back during spring, right? So we want to make sure that we're identifying any barriers, removing them before they start the program. I had somebody ask earlier too, I was at San Diego Regional Center meeting with their program managers, and they said, well, if they can't finish one cohort, can they come back to another? And I said, it depends on why, right? Because what we don't want to do is have somebody coming in that's pressured from outside sources, but this isn't really what they want to do, coming in and then not, you know what I mean? Or, they quit because it's not a good fit versus somebody that, hey, I had an unforeseen situation, I can't make it. We would absolutely let that person return. We do that for any population. It doesn't have to be this specific cohort. Our goal is to get somebody, retain them, and get them employed, right? So the big thing about these programs, and this is not just, again, our programs in general, not this specific population, is most of the people we serve either are not working at all or they're making minimum wage. All of our programs are anywhere from $18 to $35 an hour, right? So I can instantaneously almost get you a $5 raise, right? And so we have such small cohort sizes. When somebody doesn't show up, they can't just disappear on us, right? So what's happening is I'm calling them, I'm texting them, I'm getting a hold of them and asking them, like, what happened? Why aren't you in class? What's going on? And they might say something like, oh, my car broke down and I can't get it fixed. Well, then I'm doing the research. I'm talking to other students in there. Is there any type of transportation resources we can leverage? Is there a student that lives by you? How can we get you here? Because in 21 weeks or less, I'm making you $2,500 extra a month, at least. Not to mention if you're not working at all. That's a world of difference for a lot of people in what their life is. So for us, it's about retention and employment, right? We want you to be successful for this program. So that interview process is 100%. Are you ready for this, right? And if not, how do we remove that barrier to get you ready, right? So that's the interview process. Now you got to be 18, high school diploma or GED. Again, that's not necessarily a TCI thing. That's an employment thing, right? So a lot of employers obviously have HR. HR likes to check boxes. And one of those boxes is, do you have a GED or high school diploma? So that's an industry-driven requirement. And I wouldn't worry about the level one. I'd talk about more low support needs, right? So just making sure that you're independent, you can get to and from, you can work 40 hours a week, all of those types of things. But yes, we'll send all of this information out to you guys. Here's all my information as well, right? We'll get you guys both the flyers, one with all the detail on the dates, as well as the general flyer if you guys want to send it out. But from here, there's UAA right there. That's our partner I was talking to you guys about earlier, Uniquely Abled. We also are partnering with DOR, Department of Rehabilitation, as well as San Diego Workforce Partnership. Now, the cool thing I said earlier, we're the not for credit side, right? The pro is we have a lot more flexibility to fill the need of industry on our curriculum. The con typically for us is we are tuition-based side of MiraCosta, but the good news is these two are paying the 100% tuition of the program. So the program is 100% free for anybody going through this process, but you do have to go through an intake through DOR and San Diego Workforce Partnership. Good news is I've been meeting with them on a weekly basis, doing check-in. They are going to schedule on-site intakes. So if somebody goes through the information session and the assessment and interview, right after that, they can jump into a DOR intake. And from my understanding, what they've told me, there's not much paperwork at all that needs to be provided besides, the person coming in saying, hey, I'm on the spectrum and I want to take this program, and going through their process, which will be done on site here. So we're trying to make it as smooth and easy as possible. So you come in here, we're based in Carlsbad, to go through the whole entire process instead of having to go to DOR and San Diego Workforce Partnership. We're going to put it all on one site and try to make it as smooth as possible. So the other flyer we've got is the more general one, right? So this one just doesn't have the dates to it. And this one, we also have a printed version of this. So if you have anybody that's interested in actually starting in fall, our Zoom information session is on the 17th at 10 a.m. And Rebecca will include the link in the email. The in-person one is on Monday, 7:31. We try to do it after work hours. So that way, if parents or family or advocates want to join, we say the more the merrier, right? The more you guys understand the program, I'm hoping you can be a champion for it and really kind of express to other people that might be a good fit, identify people in this population that would be great. I would love that so much. I feel the reason why summer didn't work very well is because I didn't have any champions, right? So what I notice is people, the general adults with disabilities, they need to hear it from a trusted source, right? They need to know that like this is valuable. This is something that they might consider. And I think that's the piece that was missing for that summer is we did general outreach, right? We sent it up, we put it on DOR. The regional center, did the blast for us. Workforce Partnership had it, but nobody really understood what it was and why we were doing it, right? And the passion behind it and how these two worlds were now coming together specifically for me, right? So I think the biggest thing is knowing that this is valuable. There are many different academies that are being extremely successful, like 95 to 100% employment rates. We know that they are very successful in this career path. So these are just little things that if you guys can spread the word, identify people, connect people, I am here to answer questions. And do you have the date, Rebecca, of that Saturday? If not, I can pull it up.
I believe it's Saturday, the 22nd, in July.
July 22nd.
Mhm.
And I think you haven't posted it yet though, right?
Not yet, but we will have it on our calendars today.
Yeah. So I think our plan was look for it on the calendar, but Rebecca and I talked about just opening up the event for the whole Autism Tree family, coming in to TCI, doing the information session. I've got our instructor on board to come in on Saturday as well. Machines will be running. We'll do a tour specifically for you guys and your group, just to get the background of everything. And we'll go through that information session as well. So look for that on the calendar, Saturday, July 22nd. We're looking at probably 10 to noon or so on that Saturday. So real quick, I'll open up. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'm going to throw up a couple of videos as well.
I'm going to check the chat as well.
I see Jeff unmuted. Jeff, you got a question?
Yes. Yeah, I'm down here in Florida, and I kind of like I like what your approach is on this program, because I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get people to not be more hesitant about getting a job. And I think your idea of taking baby steps is the right approach here.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Jeff. I love that feedback. If you have any more, please, my ears are always open.
Thank you.
Anyone else before I throw on a video? No. All right. Again, we'll make sure you guys get both flyers as well as the study guide, the Zoom link, the dates and everything will be included in that. I think I gave you a pretty good summary, Rebecca. Did you have any questions about that email I sent out?
No, it's very thorough. So
Okay.
I'll share all that info with, we'll do it all in the recap email. And I think I'm going to do a separate email blast to all of our North County families too. But yeah, this is really exciting. And if anybody has any questions too, you can reach out to me and I'll connect you directly with Carisa. I see her email is on this flyer too. So you're always
Yeah, and
welcome.
feel free to share my signature too. My signature actually has my cell phone. So you could text me as well there, as you know, just if it's a weekend or something, I might not be right on it. I do have a 5-year-old, so it gets a little crazy. So feel free to use my cell phone too. You guys have zero clue how bad I want this to work. Because I think as we get steam, I think we won't have a problem. It's just getting it launched so that way people see it does work is the biggest barrier I'm seeing right now. So hopefully you guys can all be champions of it. Okay, let's see if I can get some video here. Can you see the video screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the first one I'll show is a little bit about industry and parent feedback. And this isn't specifically our UAA program, right? Because we're about to pilot our students of 8, hopefully in fall, right? Everybody's going to be on board for fall. So this is about other UAA academies and the successfulness and just testimonials for industry partners and things like that. Ooh, did I say? Let me make sure I shared sound really quick. There we go.
For some reason, the videos don't play. If you can send them to me, I'll also include it in the recap email too.
Might just be this one. Let's try this one. This one's about the graduation that they had, the very first one.
Welcome to the first graduation of the Uniquely Abled Academy cohort at College of the Canyons. Now, you are here today because you believe, and I believe, that everyone, no matter of their background, has value.
I've always known my son was smart. I always know he had special talents. Unfortunately, there just wasn't anything out there that allowed him to learn and succeed in an environment that was conducive to how he learned.
They're able to work alone. Well, that's not the way you should be. Except when you start saying, well, what jobs could really use people that like to work alone?
This group of individuals are not only uniquely abled, they are uniquely gifted. They are uniquely intelligent, and they are uniquely talented.
When I saw what he was creating and bringing home and learning, it was just amazing, and I'm so thankful for this program.
I was there with you guys from the very beginning, and then to see you guys today, I woke up nervous. Where are you guys going to be able to do all these interviews? And you guys showed me again another reason to be so proud of you. You noticed that you were struggling and you went home and you started reading the book and you started doing Tooling You. You were determined not to let the class make the best of you, and the improvements were seen right away. That dedication, impressive. Keep that going in life. That's all life is, right? Is just keep trying. Just keep giving it your best.
I feel like this program gave me my big break. I think that it gave me some skills that I could use in the workforce. And I also feel like my instructors prepared me for the world of work.
Someday, employers with a need will first go to their local Uniquely Academy because they know that that's where they're going to get the best employees for that need. We want our students, we want employers tearing down the walls to get our students. And I think that's sort of the feedback you got today.
Their timeliness, their reliability, their eagerness,
has blown us all away, even the instructors. This is the first time we've had this population, and we look back and it's been a great idea. We've robusted the program to make sure they're successful and we're successful in getting them hired.
I feel like the interview went pretty well, and as far as being prepared goes, I was a bit nervous, but I feel like I've been prepared as best as I can be.
So many more organizations can benefit from the Uniquely Abled Academy, seeing less of the problems and the perils and more of the potential and the possibilities are going to make lives better.
So I congratulate you, the graduates. I also congratulate the parents for the superb accomplishment your graduation represents. We supported you, but you did the work. You had to go through an abrupt transition from whatever you were doing and not doing to an intense 5-day-a-week, all-day program that exercised and tested your mental and physical abilities. You had to go into areas of high discomfort to learn, and you made it.
So, did you guys see the one that said nailed it? He said nailed it. So before even this, we do affirmations when I drop off Brilliant at school, and I tell her, you're strong, you're beautiful, you're kind, you can be whatever you want, and be kind at the end. And then as she walks in, I say, now go nail life. And I saw that, and I just about died when he had that nail. Like, I was just, oh, this is so great. Let me see if I can get the other one going. Oh, man. Okay, let's try.
Classic Wire Cut is a medical device manufacturing company located in Valencia, California. With the wisdom of our engineers and talent of our employees, we work alongside medical industry professionals to develop and manufacture instruments that help better the lives of others. In order to meet the precise demands of our industry, we hold ourselves to a high standard of quality. The contributions of our employees from the Uniquely Abled Academy have been instrumental in achieving our quality and productivity goals.
These employees come in and they're just dedicated to the machines and to the process and to the way our structures are laid out. And it's so impressive to see when we measure productivity, how on point and how determined they are to meet that standard.
We have partnered with the Uniquely Abled Academy and their graduates as we aim to provide mentorship and opportunity in the medical manufacturing industry, both in CNC work centers and other areas. We have been fortunate enough to have UAA graduates working in almost every department at Classic and throughout all stages of the production process. In an industry where focus and attention to detail is key, the sharpness and versatility of the Uniquely Abled associates from UAA's CNC program round out our team of skillful employees, and it is a privilege to provide these highly intelligent individuals with the opportunities they rightly deserve.
I've always known my son was smart. I always know he had special talents. Unfortunately, there just wasn't anything out there that allowed him to learn and succeed in an environment that was conducive to how he learned.
They're able to work alone. Well, that's not the way you should be. Except when you start saying, well, what jobs could really use people that like to work alone?
This group of individuals are not only uniquely abled, they are uniquely gifted. They are uniquely intelligent, and they are uniquely talented. When I saw what he was creating
and bringing home and learning. It was just amazing, and I'm so thankful for this program.
Right as Ethan was starting this program, he realized, oh, I should get my driver's license. He managed to kind of navigate that without a lot of assistance. So that was a pretty cool thing, because then he was independent and being able to drive. That wasn't something I would have said even 6 months before we thought would have happened.
Before I was out of high school, I was much more of an antisocial. I kept to myself. But now as I'm starting to grow up and learn more and find out more about myself and become more responsible and independent, I have been starting to reach out and make connections. I'm much more talkative. I tend to help people out.
Ethan is very excited about the possibility of tutoring others. I think he recognizes he struggled and thinks it's a way to give back. I think this whole program has just built such a confidence in him that he feels he can be successful and he can share that success with others and lift other people.
What I am currently looking at is going back to be a tutor for the UAA program, and I feel like it would be great because there is the connection that I will have with many of the students I'd be helping out. From then on, after I finish my tool and die degree, I'm hoping to start moving on into some prototyping facility where I can start making die sets and molds.
We were super relieved when we realized Ethan could be successful in life, that he will be able to be independent and manage his life. Ethan is capable of anything that sparks his interest, and we can't wait to see I don't know what he could do. I think he could take on the world if he really can set his mind to it.
So just a little bit of feedback for you guys, some testimonials. So I believe I did include links in the email. Sorry. Now it just wants to play nonstop, right? Yeah, a couple of points on that. One, prior to COVID, we had chased down industry partners. And we were constantly trying to engage them, and we did good. I mean, we had really high retention and employment rates, but then COVID hit, and we had that whole population just didn't return to work, and manufacturing got hit pretty hard. And so when that occurred, we had industry now chase that shoe flopped, right? Now they were chasing our students consistently, and we're still on that upward swing right now. So the cool thing is it's not hard to find industry partners for us and connect students. The other thing we have right now are internship dollars. So we got 3.5 million about a year and a half ago to increase internship pipelines. So we actually pay our students to go work for industry right now. So that could be concurrently with the program, or it could be after the program, but we'll pay 160 hours of the student to go work. So that industry partner almost has that, try before you buy, feel that free labor. And then the student as well gets to try that culture, right? Because the biggest part is this where I want to be? Is this a good cultural fit? Does the environment work for me? And that's when we become that matchmaker, right? So we listen to our students and we listen to our industry, and then we take a look and we make that match, right? So it's a really cool process to be a part of, and that's just for all of our programs. But it's exciting times right now. I'm hoping to launch this in fall. So now I'm going to kind of punt it to you guys. I saw some chats coming in for some questions, maybe.
Yeah, actually more comments. Our students said, love the videos. Those videos are incredible and inspiring. Karen also says, so exciting to hear your passion and find out about all the fantastic programs you're working on to ignite. Very informative. The future looks bright. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you guys. Yeah. Anybody have questions about the specifics at all? And like I said, I'll even type it in here. We'll get you guys the flyers and everything, but I'll send all my information in here as well.
Perfect. Save the chat.
I have a question.
Go for it,
Yes.
Jen. Hi. Thanks so much for this. This is so exciting to hear about. I was wondering if you have any placements for part-time job opportunities, or are the companies really looking for full-time?
with the need right now, it's mainly full-time. We don't really have, to be honest, I haven't run across anybody that didn't want to do full-time. So we haven't really tried to place somebody part-time. I don't know, to be honest, if there is some opportunity out there. There could be. There are 3 shifts typically in manufacturing, right? One is that early shift, typically like 6 to 2:30. And then that swing shift, like 11 to, whatever time that is, like 5 or 6. And then again, the overnight shift. And they do have shift differentials, right? So if you do the swing or the overnight shift, you get a little bit more extra money. But specifically part-time, I haven't tried.
Thank you. And one more thing. It looks like there's all, from the video, there's all different kinds of environments too. Do you find that locally? Like some are maybe, even I'm thinking the noise situation, some are probably noisier and some are quieter and some more busy and some less. Do you have a good variety locally? Yeah, so down here in you'd be surprised how much manufacturing one we have in San Diego. It's massive. What we see here a lot, we're built of mainly smaller companies here. We have very few large companies, General Atomics, Senior Jet Katima, the Navy, those types, big industries typically contract with our smaller job shops. Or we have people that are more of R&D, right? So they've got this great idea and they're building their way up to a full production site. And so they might be doing, this runoff here and then another one here. So they'll have the creativity behind it versus more of like a job shop. I'm making the same parts over and over and over again until that contract's over. Then I'm moving to the next one, right? Or if it's a larger company, those larger companies tend to pigeonhole you, right? So there's multiple machinings, right? One, you can be on the lathe, you can be on the mill, you can be on manual, you can be on CNC. If they hire you as a General Atomic person that's going to be a CNC lathe person, well, that's what you're going to be doing most of the time, right? There's not a whole lot of moving around in those large companies, whereas the smaller, shops that are prototyping or being creative, you'll be doing a little bit of everything, right? And then there's the job shops that get the contracts, and then you're going to be doing the same for this amount of time until you get the new one. Does that make sense? So depending on where you land and what your desire is. That's really cool. Thank you. Of course.
I'd love to hear feedback from any other parents. Oh wow, a few people dropped off. Before we go, let's take a picture. For those of you who are still on here, we'd love to see your faces if you're able to share your video.
Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much.
I love your passion, Carissa. You're so charismatic. This was amazing. Okay, so I'll take a screenshot. Just big smiles at the camera, everyone. Ready? 3, 2, 1, cheese. Awesome. And guaranteed we are gonna be one of your champions, Krista.
I love it.
I really love this for our families. I think it's a really amazing opportunity. And it seems like you've thought of everything, of every different type of boundary. So what you just put in the chat, is that their address?
I put our address, and this is if you want to come in prior to the Saturday, we actually do standing tours every Friday for anybody. So every Friday at 9 a.m. our doors are open. You can pop in, no registration needed. We're a single building, free parking, and then you could just check out the whole building. We just go through a full tour, and that, like I said, it's just every Friday, as long as it's not a holiday. Feel free to pop on over. You can always email me prior to make sure it's not a school holiday, because sometimes schools have random days off. But you're more than welcome to stop by anytime. If you can't make a Friday at 9, you want to just pop over, feel free to holler at me.
And we'll be posting that event today. So registration link will be up and live. And yeah, if you want to join us for our personal walkthrough on July 22nd, please reach out to our team. Love to hear from you. Spread the word. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Carissa, for your time.
Thank you all. I appreciate all the support and kindness, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right.
Take care, guys.